Is he going to get up? Can he get up? Can he get up? He does! Oh my goodness! Somehow Fury has managed to get up.
Hello folks, and welcome back to the Brawl Boxing podcast, brought to you by the Brawl Network and powered by 92 Degrees. I'm Kieran McCourt, and I'm joined by co-hosts Colin McGuigan and Ram McLaughlin. I just want to give a big shout out this week to our sponsor, 92 Degrees. They're a coffee shop who started in Liverpool, and they're now expanding into various other cities like Manchester and Leeds. So if you're in any of them cities, their coffee is absolute creme de la creme, so please get yourself there. They've been amazing coming on board, and without them it wouldn't be possible. So thanks a million, lads. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for that, McCourt. We're back this week with another Belfast man, and one of the reasons Stephen Nolan is now living in Thailand. Please welcome Olympic bronze medalist and future First Minister of Northern Ireland, Paddy Barnes. Paddy, how you doing, mate?
I like it. And plus, as I don't think I'm going to do this first manager job. I'm being serious when I say this. I really want to be president of Ireland.
Come on, Paddy.
I think it can happen, you know.
Paddy, we'll back you all the way.
If Donald Trump can do it for America, no problem, you can do it.
Why not?
Here, Donald Trump hasn't been to 3 Olympics. Do you know what I mean?
Well, Paddy Barnes is a billionaire.
Back yourself, Paddy. Connor Burns, vice president.
That would be some duo. Paddy, I'm just wearing a hat because I don't know if you've listened to the podcast before, but I just get absolutely abused about the hairline here, so I'm a wee bit like paranoid about it. So is that? I hope that's all right. Not a bit rude, like. I've half my 5 head here now, so it just doesn't look too bad. Is Paddy
on until Turkey?
As Callum touched on it, Paddy, you're very vocal on social media. Like you've done some unbelievable things, like the Noah Donahue situation and all that. There, what makes you speak out about it more? Just because obviously you've got that platform, isn't it?
Yeah, I just feel like people who have a big platform and a big media reach should be like calling out like different injustices that we face, and you know, misinformation and different stuff, you know, because people in the media, and not the media, people in general, like, would probably try and downplay certain stuff. So I think it's people's duty to speak out on certain agendas and certain situations to give like a different side of a coin, different kind of a story, so people can be more open-minded about stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like you've done a lot about obviously the Noah Donahue situation. There seems to be a lot more actually going into that case now because like you said about Stephen Nolan hiding in Thailand now. He hasn't said much about it, but you're the one like on Twitter and being very vocal about it. So hopefully we'll see you running for president of Ireland, and we'll be voting for you. Us three will be our first 3 votes.
Well, you know what? I'm actually taller than the current president, so
yeah, this is true. You're funny. You must have met Stephen Nolan through your years, but I always think this when I see you battering him. I'm always like, purely.
Now we're talking about stuff. Stephen Nolan actually did Stephen Nolan once. He didn't know who I was, right? Well, I don't think he did. So, if it's a time, if you can remember Oscar Knox,
yeah,
you know, he lived around the corner from me. I just happened to call him one day to see how he was, and I walked in, and outside I seen Stephen Nolan's car. I went in, no word of lie, Stephen Nolan is lying sprawled out on the sofa. I walked in, he jumped up. It didn't speak to him, like, to be honest, like, it didn't really, he didn't really know what it was.
Was he with his shoes all off, lying on the sofa?
No, he had no shoes off.
Oh my God.
He had a few digestives, like, but that's all.
Must have been a big sofa. Enough of your presidential role. We'll get that another time. But I want to take it back, obviously, about boxing. The main thing. I just want to know how you first got into it. Was it from Paddy and Carl Frampton in the streets?
You know what? I'll tell you how I got into boxing first. Well, basically, I boxed just because I remember one day it was raining. I'm from McClinville. I used to live in the street called Roadville Street, and it was raining one day, and a few of my mates boxed, Ed Graham and a few others, and they won the club. I said, "It's raining, you know what?" As a first year, I'm gonna go too. So I just followed them down. It was a Wednesday night, and on that Sunday, and in the fight, I got beat. I can't remember how the fight went, but the fellow, actually a good friend of mine at the minute, who beat me. I lost my first 12 fights, but people think, oh, why are you still boxing? We lost 12 fights, but like, I wasn't getting hammered, and I didn't really care about boxing. Like, I only boxed because my friends did, and plus, every weekend, I would go to my cousins who lived on our glass, kept me down, and my uncle ran a club down there. So it was really like me, a few of my cousins, and a few hours. So just to fit in people, like, that's the only reason to box. So for me, losing, I didn't really care, and plus, I wasn't like getting beat up. Like, they were close fights. Albeit, I was getting beat up and sparring by my cousin. I remember I used to cry in the ring and get back in the corner. And like one saw me, like, my eyes are I was going, what's wrong with you? But I had bad hay fever. It was, it's hay fever, it's alright. It was hurt, like, I was just getting bad beaten, like, but maybe it's the stupidity for going back to boxing, I don't really know, but.
What was it like, Paddy, growing up in North Belfast? Obviously, like, you grew up in the kind of like the midst of the troubles. Like, we touched on it there. He did. He grew up in the 90s, so he was in around that time. Like, and obviously, we touched on it there with Carl Frampton, used to from opposite sides of the divide and stuff. The boxing kind of give you something different to do then, rather than maybe out with all other guys.
All the Ardoin ski heads.
I didn't want to say it. McCord said it.
So, like, you say, like, I was boxing during the day, and, like, I suppose you could probably say rat was a bit of active training, you know what I mean? And all changed, like, where I lived, so Rosefield Street, my entry, basically about 3 meters, was the peace line. But there was Rat and Manor Street and Road Street, which is now non-existent anymore. It's all the Gertrude centre there. But I'm actually thankful that I'm involved in boxing because, like, I've got to meet so many friends from the other side of the community. When you're younger, you can be naive and, like, silly about stuff. Like, I was never brought up to be sectarian, and I never was, never am. But, like, I feel it's easier if you don't realize who the other side actually are. They're just exactly like us. There's not one bit of difference. And thankfully, through boxing, I get to meet some of my best friends, like Carl Frampton, Stevie Ward, like loads more people from the other side of the community. And plus, my club, Holy Family, which if you ever try to get, if you're a Protestant, it's very, very daunting because it's like all these murals and all. It's like a Republican stronghold, looks like. But the club itself is like 60% Protestants. Carrickfergus, like not Packers Bay, Shore Road, like everywhere they come to the club. So I think because of boxing, it's brought my mindset's been probably different. I don't know if it is different from else, but I just feel like it's different from everyone else's. In regard to like community relations, if you get me, that way.
Yeah, we had Carl on. He mentioned Carl there, and a few months ago, and he spoke about you a lot. He said when you first met, you didn't really like each other at the start.
But
and then obviously
that wasn't because the Kelly passing out, because we were rivals before I started.
But he was saying, yeah, like he never sort of could have seen it coming that you would end up falling madly in love. Did you ever think that would have happened with you and Carl?
You know what? It's funny you said that. I actually remember one day, right? So Fran will always beat me, right? So it's 3-1 him, right?
I've seen that everywhere on Twitter. Like
his version for me were in two were in the Antrim Championships. So you needed to win the Antrim Championships in order to go to Dublin for the Lions. Now I never got to Dublin because he always beat me. I beat him in the Northern Ireland Boys Clubs, and he beat me back on a club show. But what was I going to say here? Oh, that was so. I actually remember meeting him one time. We were kids, same weight, still rivals. Him and his ma, and the old JJB beside the old. I was facing the old USC in the town.
You're showing your age here,
right? And I seen him as ma, and I was in. There was an altar championship coming up, but his coach never entered him. And I thought, you know what, I always like him next week, he'd be under. And he told me he wasn't under. I was like, happy day, all the time. But even from there, like, I don't think there was any great animosity. I think there was like a kind of a kind of a friendship that we kind of respected each other because we fought each other, if you get me.
Yeah, 100%. You mentioned there about his coach. Was that Billy McKee?
Billy McKee, who's obviously sadly passed away, and his funeral on Friday here. Did
you get a chance to? Obviously, you were a story, I imagine. Did you get a chance to meet Billy McKee?
Billy, he's Carl's coach, but he was very, very influential in my career because I told a story. You've read Irish News recently. In 2007, the World Championships in Chicago, which were the first Olympic qualifier for Beijing. Now, I remember I went to the Commonwealth Championships in Liverpool and won gold. I beat the current world youth champion. Come back and Billy Walsh, the Irish head coach, says, "Listen, Paddy, I'm not sending you the words, you're not good enough." So I went mad now and left. And next Saturday there was a council meeting to ratify the team. And obviously it was told I wasn't being a part of it, so I actually drinking cider. Cuttenberg was only out. That's our forward long was back only out. It's only day, trampoline at the back, my mate from the Lodge, drunk all the cider, on down all things, Curly's not the road, get an hour carried. We're up and down, Billy McKee, Jay Stroy down the road. Fuckers, Jay. And Paddy, come here, mate. Jeez, what is it? What would you do if I told you you're going to lower Thompson? Me, I get on. Well, you are. Fuck, happy days. So they went down. Billy and Jerry and fought my case and got me going. So each small thing out there. So Billy, I could argue, like, you know, about like so Billy and obviously Jerry, you know, Paddy Barnes, Steve Hennigan could maybe never have been.
You'd have been swelling that outside Curly's, wouldn't you? That barrack buster.
We still blocked.
Was boxing always something you wanted to do, like full time as a job and like obviously make your money in, or were you wanting to be a right back at Clintonville?
See, man, I swear to God, to this day I still don't want to be. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Like,
you need to give up on growing up, Paddy.
That's below the belt.
Like, boxing never something, you know, like I thought I could make a life out of. I think maybe the turning point for that was probably when I was 16, when I won the first All-Ireland title, and then I went to the Four Nations Championships, which was England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, and I won gold there. I thought, you know what, maybe I'm not bad this year, and I kept winning. And then when I was 19 or 20, that's when I qualified for the Olympics, and I got some €20,000 tax-free funding. And I just got more than that because I'm from North, so I got dual funding. And like, that's that. €20,000 tax-free is serious money, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the following year, got a medal, so it was on, was it €50,000 tax-free? So like,
Unreal.
and I was 4-year contract, and then one another Arthur. What?
You own the Cliftonville Road then? 50 grand tax.
I haven't owned houses all right, man.
What do you think Jared Lawler gets his money for Clintonville so through Paddy?
I'm some sort of right.
That's serious money though.
Who do you think pays Julie Gold's wages?
Jesus. Rand's gonna be looking to sang in the morning.
Paddy.
No, but I go. I actually, you know what? It's funny we was talking about like the kind of money out there. So obviously that was great money that I was on, but like I spent it on shit. Like, because see, if you're so young, like, and even to this day, there's still nothing in place for like young lads, especially in football too. Man, you should probably know, like, there's nothing to do where how young lads are gonna manage their money properly. You know what I mean? Like, I've
been renting 7 years, and if I knew what I knew now, I went straight in and bought a house straight away.
Exactly,
I mean, 7 years of rent just thrown down the window.
Like the Football Association, Boxing Association, like Sport Ireland and Sport and they should come together with something like this. Like, we're trying now work. I work with boxing, and part of our program at the minute, we're trying to the rollout is like financial management, not just for boxers but for clubs and all too, because it's seriously like people think, oh, Paddy Barnes, I'm fucking scared.
Your backdrop looks absolutely sublime. Like, so I don't think you're at skint.
Yeah, that's all. Turn or huddle the money. Don't get there.
Paddy, we were saying there about obviously you had a lot of success as an amateur. You did start your first 12 fights with losses, but like how did it go to those decorated heights of like 3-time Olympian Paddy Barnes from that? Like what did you do differently? Obviously you were a kid whenever the 12 losses, so kind of just
You know what? I just think I was lucky enough to be trained by some of the best coaches in the world. Obviously my own coach, Jay Story, club coach, and then high performance. But you know what? Even from a young age, like from maybe 16 onwards, like obviously taking away from what you know coaches, I would learn off different boxers. So I would like watch different fighters and like think try and adapt that to my style. And you know, if I had the coordination and balance and skill to do to try and copy them, then I would take it on board. But like I'm probably one of the most successful amateurs ever in Ireland and UK, but I'm nowhere near the most skillful. And the reason why I'm probably one of the most successful is because in amateur boxing, you can say amateur boxing, nearly every other year, the scoring system changed. So I changed my style to suit the system. So in 2010, it was like a peekaboo stage, so hands up, you can throw punches all day. You land one, hit point, steal a fight. So I adapted my style until the systems were in place. Other boxers who were class were getting like beat by silly people because they didn't adapt their style to the system. That was the way it was getting scored. So that's why I think, you know, I excel more than most.
Did you like that? So sorry, did you like that peekaboo style? There was a lot of obviously like Paddy Gallen stuff it worked for amazingly, and other people fucking hated it. But what you seem to sort of like both.
I actually came out in the Call Games in Delhi and said boxing is boring because it was boring to watch. You know what I mean? But because amateur boxing not a highly watched sport, but if you're going to manage the Call Games and Olympics, like no one cares what your stage like because people are going to celebrate your success, but they don't care what kind of effect. So in that time, I didn't care. I was born, and I hope it never goes back there because it is crap. But the way it's scored now, you know, boxers need to go for it more and want to win. So the system now changed for the better, but the peekaboo style, even what suited me. No, I'm not even joking. I fought in the European Championships, the first major tournament that I won gold in Europeans. 7 weeks previous, I had an operation for hernia. So I had to train on a bike. I wasn't even properly fit and properly ready for a serious tournament. But I didn't need to be fit because I wasn't out of best once. Black. But I throw 2 punches, and if they're coming back, you can't miss them. Right? I knew this. Like, if you watch my fight in the final against Azerbaijan, the guy was unbelievable. I mean, class. I think a 4-1 because the system so easy. He went on next year to be the Dolphin won a world title. So the system was bad, but it was good for me. So I can't complain.
I know. Like, would you have ever thought, like, you know, when you were obviously a kid and all, and you were growing up, like, would you have ever thought you'd have had that amateur career? Because you've won back-to-back Commonwealths as well, which is a serious achievement. Like,
yeah, no one's ever done that. Like, but never. Like, my dream wasn't even to win an All-Ireland title. See, when you were a kid, you needed to qualify for the All-Irelands, right? And I was always losing to Frampton. But I remember when you got a junior level, you didn't need to qualify, you automatically done Dublin. So my dream was only to fight in the stadium itself. Or just to fight there, that's all I wanted. No world titles, no All-Irelands, nothing. Just to fight in Dublin at the National Stadium. That was my dream.
Then you're getting selfies with Usain Bolt. Unbelievable.
I can't believe that there, though.
Still rather Joe the Goal in the Shamrock, like 100%.
I can't name two more.
The thing is as well with the 3 Olympics, like the 2008 Olympics is the first Olympics I ever remember, and that fucking team was unbelievable as well. People always think about the 2012 Olympics, but the 2008 Olympics with Darren Sutherland and Ken Egan and yourself and a few others, like it was an unbelievable team. But people forget as well about the famous, everyone thinks Mick Conlon started the post-interview madness. Paddy Barnes, 2008 Olympics, started that. That was absolute vintage.
You know what? After that there, so obviously I went mad because, like, that's not story. So I qualified for the Olympics in 2007 at the World Championships. I hated my coach at the time. They played ball. I didn't like them because they didn't pick me. I remember beating Japan at the Worlds to qualify, and Billy Walsh jumped the ring. Yes, we're going to Beijing. Fuck Beijing. I won 25 euros. I didn't care about the Olympics. I didn't really know what the Olympics were. Obviously, knew about the 100 meters out there, but the Olympics meant nothing to me. And I was going by myself. I was at the time. When I'm qualified. Like I won Beijing. Not a fucking chance, man. It's not a chance. But then John O'Nevin and then Donald Joyce, Kenny, and someone qualified, so we had a team going. So it didn't mind it. Like, but like you say, that team in Beijing, you know, the whole team only lost to the gold medalists. So it was a very, very good team.
When you
said again, sorry, I'm not character about the interviews. Like, I was so annoyed. Like, I knew myself. Like, Susan was far better than me. He definitely beat me, no problem with it. But like 15-0, like, I was so annoyed. Like, I called. I remember getting down inside the ring, and a Australian judge, starting at 30. Call him Martin. What I was doing. Like, I was so annoyed. Like, be a ring. Call everybody at everything and didn't even care.
Man, it was fucking amazing.
Mick stole that off you then, give him the fingers. He's just copying you from the Olympics before.
Yes, Mick was your money.
The thing is as well, like, social media wasn't as prominent when you, like, the difference between 2008 and 2016 is madness in terms of social media. There's now, I think there's one, I remember watching about a year or two ago, I think there's one crappy version of it. It's like really pixelated on YouTube.
Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah, now it would be shared all over.
Do you know what it was as well? Facebook. I think when you were kids, when you watch people on TV, they were all so serious. Do you know what I mean? And then like when you seen obviously Paddy being so like just down to earth and just being normal and just having a bit of crack, it was hilarious. And I think that obviously grew your name as well massively alongside obviously being in the Olympics.
You're right, because like if you go to the games, it's the biggest sport event in the world. Like all these athletes who are like the potential medalists are going to be media trained. I mean, or me from the Clem walking in, getting a medal, not a car in the world. You know what I mean? Just going fucking mental.
do you have any funny stories from that? Like we were talking, who was it we were talking to? It was Josh Kelly. Yeah, and he was saying like when Michael Phelps was going for like breakfast and all, he said it was like the Alamo, everyone running over him trying to get photos and all. Like, do you have any stories like that from being at any of the Olympics?
Beijing itself, right? So I remember sitting there having breakfast away in that morning from first fight, having breakfast by myself and sitting there, table, and the hall was massive. And I sit by myself, some fella sitting in front of me, and taking away, I looked up, I know his face somewhere. He goes, I know you. He starts smiling, taking away. It's fucking Zola. He was managing the Italian team.
No way.
I
he said he knew you.
No, Paddy said this.
I'm joking.
Paddy to me,
That's Paddy from the other road.
Paddy.
I met loads of like I remember like one of the fights, big David Price, and they were pretty big top boxer, heavyweight. Well, you call a tennis player from Scotland.
Andy Murray.
Andy Murray. He was always on our bus going to watch the fights. I didn't talk to him, like, but he was always on our bus. Probably not. But I met him in London too, like, and in front of he got a picture of me, like, but
he got a picture with me.
He more or less bullied in it.
But what was it like being a teammate with Darren Sutherland? Like, what happened to him was obviously so tragic, and he sort of had the biggest projection. Everyone thought he was like a guaranteed world titleist, like as a pro.
Listen,
And just...
he was. Don Summerlin was like a proper professional. Like even though amateur boxing, it's not really amateur because you're a full-time athlete, but like Darn was, he used to log everything down, always eating. His mood every day. He used to like rate his mood every day. He was proper on it. But like Darn was a gentleman, on rest in peace. But he was a proper melter to live with. I swear to God. Like you sure remember? Like for tea, he would probably use the same tea bag like 5 things a day.
No way.
I swear to God, he was bad, but what a guy, what a boxer, and like, and that's not sticking, but I don't like just think it's funny.
No, of course.
Just make it on like, heck yes.
Do you think he would have been nailed on to be a world champion with the likes of the Gale and stuff and Groves?
Without a doubt, no. He beat the Gale, I think it was 3 times on the track before the Gale beat him.
Paddy, you decided obviously to turn pro late in your career, really. Had you always planned that from your like decorated amateur career? Did you think right towards the end I'll turn pro, or did it come maybe a wee bit too late for you, or what kind of?
No, I've never had dreams or aspirations of going pro. I didn't want to go pro. But like,
did you not have loads of offers though? Like,
no.
I'm surprised.
Actually, once Barry McGuigan,
Callum's uncle, by the way.
So
nothing to me.
Carl Frampton's youngest kid, Carl, had a naming ceremony because he's a Protestant and they don't have Christians. And he was there, and he said to my dad that he wanted to sign me. I think it was 2009. For €20,000. My dad goes, "Why would our party want to sign me for €20,000? It was on 40. Like, it's just ridiculous." And thank God it was him.
Listen, 5 of that.
He probably who probably maybe had vested interest, like, but I never put an effort. And plus, like, for me, it was always a bit Olympic goal, always a bit Olympic dream. I didn't really care about pro, but then in 2015, when I qualified, I won the World Series of Boxing, which was 5 rounds, no fast, no head guard. So it was like a kind of like a pro apprenticeship. And MGM at the time wasn't NTK. I met by Emmons, Matthew Macklin and that, and they says about going pro. I think, I don't know, but I go, you know what? I've created history as an amateur. I would love to create history as a pro. Now, I could have like been beating 15-0, won like European world titles and all, but for me, like, look at Ireland, look at Belfast even, how many world championships there's loads. So I don't want to be just another world champion. I want to be different from everyone else. I want to be the fastest world champion.
A dare to be great sort of thing.
Exactly. And I could have prolonged my career and made a lot of money, but for me, it's like legacy was more important than money. Money comes and goes. We can, when you're 80, what's money mean to you? Nothing. Like, but your legacy is there for life. So, like, I don't know anybody from here who ever fought for a title in their 3rd fight, and then their 5th fight, and then for a world title in their 6th fight for a WC title. So I'm out there, I tried, wasn't doing enough, but I have no regrets whatsoever.
See, fighting as for a world title in your 3rd fight, it's completely mental, like, when you think about it, because we always ask
boxers, the European with 3rd.
Oh, the European, sorry, yeah. So, like, we speak to boxers all the time about, the transformation over to the pros and, like, how they feel like it's a different sport and, like, how much time they needed to do to bed in. It's like, it's so much different, but, like, you just had to bypass all that. Like, you could, like you said, you couldn't go and do the Commonwealth, the Europeans, like, and just keep going on and that, but you had to just jump straight in. So, like, how was that? Like, that sort of change, you had to basically have a crash course in a pro game.
Basically, I actually remember, like, fighting these journeymen and all too, like, I was thinking, like, what do you do? Like, here's a vague guy, go out there and try and knock them out or try and box them. It was still in my head. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was trying. I think in my 5th fight, where like someone, well, it's my 3rd fight too, but my 5th fight more so, where someone presented like a great challenge for me for the WBO European. the fellow who had fought there and stopped, he had previously his previous fight drew with the fellow who stopped me for world title. So, you know, decent record and all, and I mean, so I thought that was me, you know, that was me transitioned properly, and when the next fight get better. So,
But you know what though, the people that like you fought, like Rosales and Jay Harris and all, like they're all proper, like well respected pros who are like gonna be fighting for world title. Well, obviously
Yeah.
world champion one, and then Jay Harris as well, who's gonna be up there massively. And it's like you're sort of went in there with basically, like I said, a crash course. Like you must be proud of obviously what you've done and just like going straight in, like no guns, no lube, as they say, just straight in and fucking yeah.
No, here as well. Like even like I don't think anyone in Ireland, UK, probably well, maybe not the world, but anybody from Ireland, UK will do what I've done because it's just stupid. Unless you're a millionaire already, what's the point doing it? Because you'll have a short career. But in my third fight, when I fought for the WBO European title, I fought a guy from Romania who was residing in Spain. He had lost he was robbed actually for a world title in Japan. He was an ex-European champion, so he was a serious, tough competitor. It was a very, very hard fight, you know. So I think amateur pedigree probably only have fight by boxing because he's a wee tough, baldy, hard man like he was. But
Here, talk to us about that debut. Like that must have been. What about that Egypt lifting you up? Like that must have been a bad way to start. Them.
I have never wanted to watch an IFL interview more in my life than after that interview. After that fight with Ian Coogan.
You know, that debut was so underwhelming because like for me, for a debut, his style of fighting was like running away and like he wouldn't engage. It was just terrible for the watch and terrible for me trying to sell myself to the bigger audience. Like it was lifting me up and pure soul started. It was blessing this case because it was the worst showcase ever, and I hated that debut sort of all.
You had like a few rivals throughout your career. Obviously, there was like Sue Shimming, the famous one, and then even one of the was it Sonny Edwards?
Sonny Edwards,
Sonny Edwards. Who would you, if you could pick any fighter to fight, who would be your dream fight?
Sue Shimming. Sue Shimming's debut, right? 300 million people watched him. So
Jesus.
You could fly Mayweather or China. They probably all made it last night because China. But he was the massive fight. That's what I was aiming for. He fought for world title in the 7th fight. Just unfortunately, he had an eye injury. But his wife was like the Oprah Winfrey of China. So they were massive stars.
Jeez.
Imagine I went to China. Like, I had
They have a statue of you up in Clipville.
Should have the shop on an eye. The waterworks.
The waterworks.
You tennis there.
Don't forget the curly bag as well, the left hand. That's mental because you don't realize because it's like China's like another world away, isn't it? So you don't actually realize like how big they are there. Like you just see like the UK, Ireland, America. You don't actually see like obviously that side of it as well.
UK, it's just a wee tiny.
I know.
Just biting them up, like honestly, like it's tiny, but like it makes America and say China and Asia, it is starting to become good now. You know, likes of Inoue and there's a few other Japanese later fighters there too. You know, they're starting to
not that header that fought Mayweather though. Remember that one in that exhibition?
Oh my god!
Yeah. Absolutely wild.
He was like you in Beijing after.
he was worse than me. I didn't cry.
What was your favourite Olympics, Paddy? Out of all of them?
Probably infrastructure ways, definitely China. That was unbelievable. Chinese people are, and even to this day, Chinese people are unbelievable people. Like these people, but London, just today, all that rain, but London was unbelievable. Brazil, absolutely terrible. Stinking food. The village wasn't even finished. Obama Beach is 2 hours away. Jesus Christ, it was terrible.
Is that the first thing you checked when you got there? Where's Coco Cabana Beach?
People are pre-camp, people are trained. Really, I was alright.
Was there a weird atmosphere in Rio, like when there was all them sort of shock defeats and everyone sort of knew about Mick was saying except him. Was there a weird atmosphere?
I knew it, Mick, and I sure knew him like phase before, and he's crazy. I can't say I'm like.
Did you know about it as well?
Everyone knew about it.
That's
madness.
What? Because we had a coach from Georgia who was like ex-Soviet Union guys.
Yeah.
Spoke Russian, and they were told about payments not there and what went
That's
on.
madness, like.
Jesus.
I don't think I was supposed to know, like, but I found it.
Surprised you didn't tweet about it, Paddy, at the time.
Okay, now get out of
That's all Steve Nolan's fault. He had something to do with them judges.
the He was arrested.
But you've got.
I'm only joking. Nolan keeps trying to sue me.
Buddy, you've got your own podcast, right? So here, first of all, actually, get Stephen Nolan on your podcast. That'd be a laugh.
I'm blocked. I'm going on.
You've had some unbelievable guests, by the way, for that
have.
podcast. Oh, class ones. Like
But-
I watched the Paddy Kilty one as well. That was class.
He was funny actually. So he was.
Oh, that story about you asking him, will he come on? He said his nanny. Oh,
But for
my
anyone,
That's the
for anyone
best
who
one.
hasn't heard it,
Maybe he sent me 4.
Hey, Paddy, tell the story
Paddy.
actually for our
Tell the
listeners
story.
because they probably would have
So
heard.
I asked Paddy Keaton to come on my podcast, the podcast, and he says, Paddy, listen, I'll definitely come on, but just not the minute to know our nanny, we've lost our nanny. I said, Jesus, Paddy, I'm sorry to hear, no, Jesus Christ, no problem, sorry about your nanny. It was, no, Paddy, like, my nanny, not my granny, my granny died in 1974, but I'm not even explaining it as good as it should.
I think he had actually said, I've lost my nanny due to COVID because she couldn't come around
Yes.
the house because of
That's what it
COVID.
was. Yes, that's what it was.
He went, I'm so sorry, mate.
It was his nanny, like Ronnie. Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
Who would be your favorite guest? I suppose you don't really want to say, like, but I mean, like, I don't know.
Who
like,
surprised you? Maybe who surprised you?
Jesse Lingard's literally got a move from Man United to West Ham because you got Darren Till scaring him. You know what I mean?
Best to call it out there. You know what? When you speak about best guests, like everyone who I interview, like I come away thinking like, oh, they're brilliant, they're my best, but they're always goody sorry. Like, I'm so thankful to like John Hartson and Jonathan Mulders. Like, they're all very honest. Like I didn't think that they'd been it gave me as much as they did because like, the way my podcast works, I don't really delve into too much because I don't want to be controversial. Because if I do, it would probably defer other guests from coming on. Like, you know what I mean? So I just try and keep it like simple, like about how. And the reason why I want to know is for like how they get started to where they are now, because I want the younger generation to look at it and think, you know what, if they can do it, I can do it, and look at the map and like.
what made you start the podcast? Like, where did that idea come from?
Sorted.
Serious? Just sitting around being like,
We stole the idea off you, like.
Yeah. Brian, weren't supposed to fucking tell him that.
Actually, I don't really watch podcasts. I'm very years, but I don't really watch any podcast. But I want to watch 20 years. I want to watch Jimmy Collins. And a few hours. I can't remember who else he had on. But no one really heard someone else.
Frank Smith. We had Frank Smith on.
Frank Smith. Frank Smith.
He was hilarious, you know, because he gets absolutely dogs abuse under the IFL videos with the comments, like about being so boring, and he was honestly hilarious.
See, Frank Smith, I know Frank Smith. He actually a nice fellow, so it's really nice
Yeah.
fellow. Actually, it's a funny story about Frank Smith. We were in Danny Matthews was fighting for the world title. No, it wasn't that. It was a fight in Liverpool anyway. It could have been Danny Matthews fighting against Terry Flanagan. Actually, it wouldn't have been because Terry Flanagan was Frank Warren. It was a match show anyway, Liverpool, right?
Rocky feeling.
No, it wasn't Rocky feeling. It's going to be my hand, it was. But anyway, so I had text. I had Frank's number. I phoned him, sorry. And I was like, Frank, what's happening here? Listen, Eddie Hearn told me a ring. He says, about give me when I say tickets to fight. He goes, I plan to get them all over you. I didn't know anything. Fair enough. 3 90 tickets and go for me.
We're doing that, lads. We're doing that.
Work for me.
Here he follows all us. We definitely have to do it.
I have a number out for my give you as well.
Legend.
Here, Paddy, we were asking Carl about what it's like sort of walking about Belfast, because we were saying basically him and McElroy are probably the 2 most famous sportsmen in the north, like.
Yeah.
But you're one of them people who are like, you're right up there in terms of like recognizable and sort of the name and stuff. What's it like for you just standing about Belfast?
Loads of people back, loads of people. It's just it's surreal from how like to this, but you know, like it's not something I really want, because like you can't, like I'm just normal as McKinley, you can't really mess about going right about the lads, like, so you have to be careful thing too. Not to be mess about, but it's just it's for me probably more so it's nice that people recognize your achievements more than anything, if you get me.
I get starstruck in Castle Court when I seen you when I was 14. I think you were banned some jeans and Gino.
What age you man?
26.
26.
Yeah, I know. I look 46.
Paddy Barnes.
That is sweet.
That's it.
Paddy, it's sweet.
Paddy Barnes is never out of Castle Court, like.
Here, lads, I used to be I had no job at boxers. Like, I used to be in town every day, bored, walking out.
No, that's why I'm laughing. Like, when he said that, right enough, I think I seen you like a few times as a kid.
It's
and
true
it was
story,
always at
like.
Castle Court.
Yeah.
Convinced in Debenhams and Castle Court, just trying on all the fucking aftershave. Straight up the food court after.
How much do you enjoy the podcast? Because like we don't see it as it's not a job. Like, you know, we actually asked that we had somebody called Doug Allen on, who's like he was a Hollywood director, and he has a podcast, and he's saying he's the only thing he's ever done that he doesn't find it like a job, because it's just so interesting, so listening and speaking. Like, we're all massive boxing fans, so
Yeah.
speaking to you now, like it's like a huge honor for us, but like it's so interesting and it doesn't feel like a job to us.
No, well, for me, I'm just interested. Like, I only approach people who like I'm interested in their careers or people who I like. So for me, like most of the guests, like I feel honored to talk to me. So I feel privileged to talk to me. And like I just like seeing them make them tick, getting to know them, and like I'm joking. Every podcast I've done, they when they give me the numbers, like so to keep our friendships so well. So like I just love sitting here. Just talking about them. Everything's out when I asked.
You're sitting there bored, WhatsApping John Hartson every night.
That's my case. I sit here bored and say, I have messaged The Rock. Like, I go for the big stars. Like, there's ain't no thing for Finney Jones, people know his agent. I've actually followed one of them. AP McCoy, I can get him like.
Oh, here's here. I actually messaged Finney Jones and he put me on to his agent too, and then his agent didn't get back to me. Right?
Paddy, do you know who you could definitely get on, but and we have been dying to get on? Katie Taylor.
That would be. Oh, come on.
Seriously?
Oh, Sean, come on. Oh fuck! Sorry, Paddy. By the way, that means we have no hope, lads.
I know we're fucked.
I don't think she does a podcast.
Yeah.
Did you ask her personally? Like, it should have said nah.
No, not personally. I asked her our management team who runs her accounts, and I don't think that, in fairness, I think that our team just didn't ask her. I think maybe if after she probably say yes, but her team are just arseholes, I think, so they're not didn't answer for me.
I know you went to 2 Olympics with her. You should not have to fucking go through her management, like.
I know, but I'm not a number. Like, I wouldn't pay her for number, like, but listen, people don't come on for a reason. Like, it's up to themselves. Only fucking.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
How do you feel after doing how do you feel after doing your first one? Because like we look back at our first one, it was with Tyrone, like, and we feel sorry for Tyrone because we were absolutely miles off it. Were you nervous? Were you?
Not really, because I don't cards. Who's a mate, but
yeah.
I feel like I need to do them again. I will do them again because it was terrible. Like, I hadn't got it edited properly, with the podcast stuff and all, and the questions over shit and just different stuff. But obviously, when he becomes 3-8 world champion, I make them on again. I'll see how I feel.
We'll see how I feel. I know we promised Tyrone a studio one night. I like make it up for him. Because like I know you're probably feeling the same. Like you're doing it on Zoom and all. Like you'd probably love to see them all face to face.
But it's good. It's good on Zoom because like you think like this tool here, Zoom, internet, like you can approach anybody in the world.
No.
You know what I mean? So like,
I have a funny story for you actually, right?
I was
So
just
we
about to tell us.
I messaged Jordan Belford, right, on Instagram, and he put me in touch, right, with his manager, right, so a big FaceTime and all, so I was like, fuck, right, I have to do this, like, it's a 15-minute call, like, proper nervous about it, had it all, like, planned out, so I was on FaceTime to her, or whatever it was, and she was like, yeah, so tell me a bit about your podcast. I was like, just telling her about it and all, like, it'll just be very laid back, nothing, like, personal, nothing, like, you know, that'll get Lucho given bad sort of press. And then she was like, yes, no problem. No, everything sounds good. That's Jordan will definitely do it. There's a small fee though that we're going to have to charge. And I was like, yeah, it's no problem. How much is the fee? And she was like, $20,000. I tried to keep a straight face. I was like, we're ran by a network in Chicago, so I'm just going to contact them. But yeah, it sounds reasonable enough. I'll get back to you.
So he's on next week now, Paddy. Next Monday.
we took your amateur purse.
here, fair enough. I'm not going to name. He's a footballer, an ex-hockey player who wouldn't come on podcast because he's looking paid.
No way.
He would do 15 minutes for free and says, nah, fuck off.
Serious?
No, I would have devastated. Like,
That's disheartening, isn't it? Is he a big dog, like?
you know what I mean? Back in the 90s.
Back in the 90s? Did he?
That's prime Martin O'Neill time, like.
Did he?
But like when I speak,
I ain't gonna be Tyler Burns thing. The 90s, no.
oh really?
Oh,
Tyler Burns 90s?
Jinky Johnson.
No, that's he's a big player, and everyone's going on there. Like,
do you know? I think I know who it is.
Well, Paddy, before we end, we just want to get, there's a big few fights coming up. You mentioned 3-weight world champion there. Do you fancy Carl's chances?
100%. No, I can't see any reason why. I can't see any other result in Frampton winning convincingly, to be honest with you. Not just next because you're a mate, but I really do think.
Do you think he stops him?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I've been watching his inside fight and things like, and he's with Lanzi or Michael Land, sorry, doing all like obviously because he felt like he got bullied a bit in the Warrington fight, and now like he seems an unbelievable Nick, like, so I'm buzzing for him. Just gutted it fucking. I was because it was like a Josh Kelly and then Frampton double, 2 weeks in a row, and I was buzzing for it, like, but it's obviously just been put back for a month, but still it's gonna be unbelievable. Kakachi obviously headlining his own card as well is brilliant.
Sorry for Kakachi, and Kakachi's like one of those talents that doesn't probably get the recognition he deserves. He's a class fighter, and hopefully he's headlining now, it'll give him a platform to propel for bigger nights.
Who do you think's the best up and coming back? I know, like, obviously everyone talks about Sean, don't they? Sean McComb as well, and then obviously Mick. They the two best you think coming through that they're going to light up the world stage?
Definitely, you know, like Sean McComb is still a prospect because he has the one taken. I think taken. So, you know, he's definitely one of the best now. If Mick Conlon, obviously everyone knows who Mick Conlon is, you know, one of the most skilled boxers ever trained with. But you've loads of Lewis Crocker, Gary Cully, the two Tyrones, Tommy and European champion. Tommy next week could potentially be for a world title.
Yeah.
James Tennyson.
Well,
he's not up and coming, obviously, yeah, but
he's not coming. But he. But the thing about James Tennyson is, like, he's moved weight to lightweight, and he's found the right weight because he's a beast at it. He's killing everyone. So it's be interesting to see Tennyson again. I think a marquee name because Tennyson can really wallop.
Oh, he's an animal, yeah.
And also, hopefully,
it's like the hardest weight division too, though. Yeah, lightweight's mental, isn't it?
I mean, Frampton saying that, well, I think it was definitely catchy that he punches very hard. Like, so,
you think McComb and Tennyson will ever fight? That would be a serious need to feel with that.
I don't know because Tennyson is so far on, and
yeah,
you never know. It could possibly could be.
They're both young. They're both really young as well. Like they're both like 27, 28. So
I think they feel like, and plus, if McComb stops, this guy's fighting. And Tennyson's not the man too. Like we talked about potential matchup there.
Do you think they're good for the city though? You know, obviously everyone loves them. The thought of like remember at one point people were talking about Frampton, Conlon and stuff, and or like the likes of a Tennyson and Macomb. Do you think it's good for the city, or would it become quite tribal?
Well, I think Macomb and Tennyson, would be bad for the city, but when you're talking like Conlon and Frampton, like both sides of the community, I think it would be absolutely terrible for the city, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
because
100%.
Even though we're all boxing fans, but like there's decades still about these streets, like, so you just never know what could happen there. So I'm glad that it's never ever going to happen now.
I think that would have been the worst for you as well. It'd be like your two brothers fighting, like.
Exactly, and plus, like, my two kids have been fighting too, because my oldest, Carl's the godfather, and my youngest, Mick's her godfather.
You'd end up in Thailand with Stephen Nolan.
Exactly. You should have top and tail of the bed.
Paddy, tell me, are you a massive boxing fan? Like, do you watch every single fight every weekend, or like because like sometimes people, like I know with footballers especially, like they're just not as into football. Like there's so many footballers don't like it.
I don't even watch much football, to be honest. Like without fans, I think it's brutal. Like with fans, I love it, but see, without it, I think it's horrific.
I talk about football before talking about boxing. No, like I would probably watch like Celtic and Rangers. I would probably never watch like English league, but I love watching the Irish league on TV. I don't know what it is.
I do it as well. I was watching Lauren, Dungan and Swifts the other night because
real tackling as well. Like they still get away with more.
Do you know what though? They don't even get out. Do you know what? They don't get the praise actually that they deserve as well. Though, like Lauren play class football, and see the players that actually go across the water from the Irish league, they all do really well.
Yeah, definitely. It's like Irish league football doesn't get credit too, because watching TV, it's just their style of play. It's just like boxing, and when you talk about boxing, like I'm not a massive fan, but like people who are really, really good, and plus now because like obviously come to like the amateur international scene in 2007, like all wanted a full-on say or pro, and like people you probably never heard of, like I watched them, and like just like so like I knew about Lomachenko like in 2007, 2006, you know what I mean? So ridiculous.
You should put a bet on him earlier back then. You'd be absolutely minted. Put a bet on him.
Exactly. Actually, you know what? I don't think the big stupid. They were knew that he's superstar. Our rules more fair, like just like probably Eastern European fighters. And actually, I will give you a tip about a fighter who probably will be massive over the coming years. Obviously, I think Shakur Stevens will be massive, but there's another amateur turned pro there called Keyshawn Davis from America. Keep an eye on him. Unbelievable, it is unbelievable.
Go write that down.
I'll get
them on next week.
I'll get them on next week.
We'll have to do it at the same time, Paddy.
No,
like joint Zoom call.
I'll get you shut down.
Paddy, see where obviously like you finished boxing and all, you touched on it, that you haven't a clue what you're gonna do when you grow up. But like, what is it? What, like, I know you're doing Paddy boxing all now as well, and you've had the UFC fighter and all and on it as well, and then obviously
Brian McCon,
yeah. So you've done well with that, haven't you? Matthew Macklin's coming on next week, isn't he?
That was hilarious.
I was just the moment of rage, lads. It was just so annoyed, so was.
Dude, it's the fact you tagged them both just makes it so much funnier.
I know.
We've got a mate from London that wrote into our group chat, he screenshotted, he was like, I love people from Belfast, they don't give a fuck. They just literally tag them and don't care, while people in England just beat around the bush.
We have a different sense of humour. Like, see, us skaters and people from Glasgow all have the same
100%.
But you and Matt Macklin are close, aren't you? Like,
they good, but like, I don't
hate. Did they look close the other night?
Like, I don't hate Matt Macklin. Or actually make Austin Home podcast, and I've been serious. I love that.
Love it.
There's no love lost there, lads.
Yeah, to be fair, his reply, I seen the replies and all, like it was all fed. It was just used to going at it literally the sake of one tweet, and then that's it over.
You see the moment, then sure, next day I'll wait for him following anything, you know what I mean? So
so is that what's on the cards? Then just keep up with the podcast, and then obviously then into the boxing as well.
I'm actually recording. I actually meant to do tonight, but I've done your one instead.
Oh, what a man!
Come on, Paddy, what a guy!
free. What a guy.
I've
It's baffling because everybody's like baffled, like that we don't actually charge people to come on. Like they're like, why the fuck would they do it then? It's just like, and I asked myself the same question.
But like, I suppose like people who have podcasts could charge if they have a fucking massive reach.
Yeah, James English, people like him.
Like, do you know he's like hundreds of thousands of people. Like, maybe you have like tens of thousands, maybe, or like 5,000, like, but
yeah,
which isn't bad. Like, yeah, like think about it. But see, surprised enough. When I started the podcast, like, you know, I thought like I remember saying away about the guests. Like, I had a list of who I get on. He's like, there's not a chance like on your podcast, blah blah blah. I get them on here. I get them on.
Class.
So
it's
just
unreal.
surprising how much people like sports stars are like down the earth and they actually look them on and talk.
Well, you're a big name in Belfast. I reckon you could get Jamie Dornan on. Like, we've been eyeing him up. What do you reckon, Paddy?
Paddy, I was playing Call of Duty with Mick. I was playing Call of Duty with Michael Conlon, right? A couple of weeks ago. I was like, Mick, do you realise Jamie Dornan's just like your last Instagram poster? And he was like, what? Does he follow me? He didn't even know he'd followed him. He was like, oh my God, my message is going to buzz off that. So he just followed him back there later. He's probably been following him for years. He's just been panning him ever since.
Paddy, I've got one question for you before we let you go, because I know we're taking up your whole night here, right? You were down the waterworks with a cider, right? See at like the minute, do you see yourself maybe, obviously you've had really good coaches through your career. Do you see yourself maybe getting into coaching pros or maybe like managing like the next Barry McGuigan, something like that?
I don't know how to answer that, but the bar William. So
3 of it there, isn't it?
But at the minute, I actually am helping out with the Ulster High Performance team, like coaching their kind of boxers when I can. Obviously, lockdown a little bit messed it up, but I don't really know about the coaching side of things and that kind of level, like the pro level, or I'm more interested in amateur boxing than I am pro. But which is good. I feel like the kind of paddy box thing I have about training them, and like it's crazy because like the kind of stuff I'm doing paddy box, like, you wouldn't get it unless you're like, on the high performance team. So I'm teaching them not like people who are not boxers, like proper high class moves, like not high class, what's word for like
training, yeah, just elite training.
Elite training, kind of give them elite combinations out there and like advanced combinations out there and different stuff. So like I just love training, but see the thing with the paddy box too, it's not even about training or anything out there, but actually get a buzz. Like I would train people and tell me like, because I go to their houses and like someone can't get out, if kids not there, I can't get out and because of other stuff, but they actually enjoy someone else going to their house and train them and talk to them. So
I live near Tyrone. You there knocked me down a couple of times. Turn that corner and you're late.
what do you want to slow
Do you know what, Paddy? Tyrone messaged me on Instagram the other day, right? And he wants to do this thing, so I'm gonna have to go on Paddy, but I'm gonna need to get paddy box like sorted out in May when I'm home, because he wants to fight me in a ring proper, like spar me in a ring up for YouTube for the crack, play football against each other for the crack, and then play Call of Duty. So like, and he says like, I'm gonna properly hit you, so like, I need you to sort me out.
No problem.
I'm gonna do it. Like I'm gonna do it. I was like, bit of crack, like, but I was like, he'll obviously spark me out, but I'm just there for the ring walk.
Surely he won't spark you out. Like how grim would it be?
He said he's gonna hit me proper, like, so I have to take it.
I see Sean will a job because Sean one people who doesn't know how to take people around. So that's true. I actually remember sparring Sean with kids, like obviously older than, and he's like calling me and hit me uppercut, and I joke, and I remember to the roof. Easy.
I need you, Paddy. I need Paddy back sorted, like in May.
Let's get it on.
Box me off.
Happy days, Paddy.
Whenever we start our YouTube channel, right, we'll do a paddy box special with you, and we'll put that on our YouTube, because we're gonna go around different gyms and do like a day in the life, providing that fighters and their coaches are okay with it.
We'll pay you for that. Obviously, paddy box is your job. Like, don't
worry.
We'll have to try to spread that for free.
Long term. I'm planning to open a gym, paddy box gym as well. Let them
Antrim Road.
Don't know. I think it's Sleep Center.
Yeah, because see, boxing, like, it's the hardest exercise you
Exactly.
can do. Like, everybody, it's notorious for that. Like, so
But
even like you see so many PTs about, but like boxing's probably the most enjoyable as well.
Yeah,
that
because
you can
Ram
do.
Burnett's one looks unreal.
it's good. It's
Really good. Like,
see, my end, there will be no weights. They have to be like boxing specific stuff, no jungle, like and like, boxing training is like really enjoyable. So, you know what I mean. So it's all about enjoyment and getting fit, having fun, not about the squatting out there and lifting.
Boring as anything,
Oh.
just flexing in the mirror with your tight
Right.
tops.
Paddy, thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. We're actually buzzing to get you on. So
Legend,
really,
Paddy,
really...
appreciate
No,
it.
I'm glad about it. I've been asked me as raising as you had a reaction.
Paddy,
we
you'd be
had this list, like, literally, and like we had Joe from the new year,
Honestly,
and that's when I messaged you. Remember, I messaged you in January.
Actually, it's even worse. Some last on the list.
no, here we've actually had to
we've
turn
literally
people down.
Do you know who really come on the mind? Alexander Pavlakin.
No way.
Do you know something?
Epic. We need a translator for that, or would he be alright?
No.
Like, does he speak fully English?
No, he had. So his manager was talking to me, and he said he would come on with me. And
Yeah.
They're speaking English and they're speaking Paddy Barnes. Like,
Exactly.
You need to get Joe Gormley on as your translator.
Exactly. But I need a translator for myself.
That Joe Gormley episode was class as well.
Yeah.
That was
He has
very.
very good stories. So was where Harry he got to where he was like, and obviously he'd been in England now and come back. And I like two companies one.
Yeah, it was very good. Very good story. Like,
you
interesting.
should get
like,
Paddy. I never know how to say your wife's name. Is it Mary or?
Mari.
You should get her on it. She's a fucking character. I see her on Twitter all the time.
I get her quitting Frampton.
Oh, they literally are unbelievable together on Twitter.
I'm
Class.
sure you and Carl must be terrified of them. Like,
Paddy, thanks a million, mate. Really appreciate you giving us your time.
No problem, lads. No problem.
absolute
Legend,
gentleman,
Paddy.
Paddy.
Top man,
Absolute
legend.
gent.
Cheers. Well, folks, that was it for our episode with the future First Minister of Northern Ireland, Paddy Barnes. I'd also like to give a shout out to our two American sponsors, DraftKings and Manscaped. If you go on the Manscaped website and use our code Brawl Boxing, you'll get 20% off any Manscaped purchase and you get free delivery as well. Join us again next week when we'll be back with another very special guest.
Yeah, ask me what it feel like staring at the sky so vanilla, telling Kurt Russell, homie, this ain't real life. I'll be making good on my promises. Honesty is confidence, a lot of it is missing, but I realize I could be better than I was. Lighter on my feet, cooking up the soul when we fire up the beat. Let the fire underneath me, higher when I speak, like I'm climbing up a steep tree. Ooh, come and greet me after the show, after the lights, after the shine, after the hoes. Half of them yours, half of them mine. Happen to find they grill me, but I'm the chef you want. Once you get a little taste, I'ma buy the restaurant. Sitting at the top, sitting up an echelon, busy watching my life.